I know where you live, like I'm gonna go find you, like I'm gonna go, I know you're in Austin, I know you're in school, I know where you're at.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So today, as you can probably already tell, we have a special guest. Her name is Maria. You already know her. She's she's my best friend. Okay. I was gonna say she's one of my close, but what am I saying? She is back in our channel because we have a special video for y'all today.
And Maria, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We love having you here.
I love being here.
But anyways guys, so today we have a very special video for y'all. What do you want to call your story?
I call it my stalker story. I'm like, did you guys know that I had a stalker? And then I go into my story. So the stalker story, I guess.
My ex-boss stalked me all the way to college.
Yeah, and like, well, I don't want to give too much away, but yes. My crazy ex-boss was way older than me. In high school, mind you, stalked me and just did crazy stuff that people with serious mental health issues have. And they do. And it did. And it happened.
So let's just take right into the story and start from the beginning.
Okay, so it was my junior year. That summer I worked at a law firm. I entered at a law firm. It was there that I met a lot of paralegals. My mentor was a paralegal. She was a really nice lady and she was very friendly with all the paralegals there, and she knew this other paralegal that was on a different floor but did basically the same thing she did. So she introduced us, and she was like, you know, if you need help with college stuff, like he can totally help you, and like I know you are wanting to go to college and all this stuff. And I'm a first generation, so for me, any help I can get, I'm just like, yes, like if you want to help me, that's great. Like I will definitely accept your help. At first, when we met, he was very kind, very funny, very just a normal guy. And I think the caveat is that he was 50, like early 50s, and I'm like 17 years old, 16, 17, I can't remember. The way I saw it was, I was very naive. I obviously didn't think like anything crazy would happen, so I'm just like, yeah, like I can hang out with this guy, like he can teach me some things, he can like read my essays for my scholarships, and it'll be great. So we started hanging out after my internship ended. Then school started, and it was our senior year. So in senior year, you take less classes. Like we ended early, like basically. Yeah. So I would be like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with this man, like his name, well, I don't want to talk about his name. But yeah, like I would tell him like, this is him, this is how nice he is, he's really cool with me, he like takes me out to lunch, he buys me things, he buys me lunch, he's always like offering to buy me stuff. And they would be like that's kind of weird, like he's older than you. If it was our parents, they wouldn't let us hang out with him. But I mean, the way Maria would describe him was that he was really nice and he just wanted to help. Yeah, and it's interesting you say your parents wouldn't let that happen. Well, my parents, at the beginning, they were like, okay, well, she just worked with him in the same place, like it's fine. But then we started hanging out at like when school started, and they were like, that's kind of weird, you need to stop, you need to not hang out with this guy. And I would be like, I would vouch for him. I would be like, no, he's a really cool guy, like he's really normal. Like I remember at some point when this became an issue with everyone, I just decided to make my intentions clear. I would never ever go out with some 50-something-year-old man. Like this could be my grandfather at that time. I was not looking to ever seduce this man, to ever like take advantage of him, like me seducing him. No, like I told him straight up, listen, I would never be interested in you. I would never date you. I told him. That is what gets me. That is what gets me. I thought I was in this protective bubble that once I verbalized that I did not ever consent to anything happening between us, that was that was it. Like, it would never happen. It would control his feelings. It would make him like, I guess I'm jumping ahead because I say that because my parents weren't okay with it, so I would vouch for him, and I would be like, no, like, we can all hang out as a family. Yeah. He totally suggested it, like, hey, let's hang out, like, your family, your brothers, let's go out to eat, let's go do fun activities. So we would literally, like, do things with him as a family. Me thinking, like, that's, like, showing them who this person is. Like, I want my parents to know who I'm hanging out with. We even invited him to church because he presented this Christian values of, like, I'm a Christian, like, I believe in that, I go to church every Sunday. And, you know, that was another thing I thought, like, he's a Christian man, he has to be a good man. Like, he's telling me he goes to church every Sunday, he volunteers at his church, he donates things to his church. I'm thinking, okay, this means he's like an honest, a normal, a respectful guy. As time progressed and we hung out, like, progressively more often, my dad was like, no, like, you need to stop hanging out with him. And then me, obviously being this rebellious, like, teenage girl, I'm like, no, I'm gonna do whatever I want, he's totally fine, like, he knows my boundaries, he knows not to cross my boundaries, he would never do anything to sabotage our friendship. So I obviously went behind my parents' back and continued to hang out with him. I would even hang out at his apartment by myself. Yeah, like, we would watch, like, Downton Abbey, because I was really into Downton Abbey when it came out. And
no way.
We would watch it alone in his apartment. And then one time he invited my family to his apartment so that we can do, like, my birthday celebration. He made a party, like a tiny party at his house, at his apartment for my birthday. Okay, this is where it gets really muddled, because it was when I started to hear about 50 Shades. So he bought me those books. Oh. Yeah, and nice. So then he would buy me things of, like, a little British flag and, like, the Downton Abbey series, and, like, the books and, like, the teas and, like, all this stuff that I obviously was really into. So I thought, like, he's a really nice man, he's buying me all these things, this is awesome.
He looks at me like a daughter.
Okay, now that you bring that up, it's interesting because he actually has 2 kids. He had a son and a daughter, and he was divorced, and so that's another thing that kind of had me thinking, like, this would never, like, blow out of proportion, this would always stay normal.
He has children.
He has a daughter. He has a daughter. He would never do anything, like, he would never want something crazy to happen to his daughter, so he wouldn't do that to someone else's daughter. And so, yeah, like, we would hang out, and then came graduation, and we graduated, and I was still hanging out with him, and he was still buying me things and taking me out to dinners. So at that time, I got accepted to UT. That was kind of when things got a little weird. One time, I had told him, I had texted him, like, hey, my roommate's not gonna be here, you should totally come to Austin and we can hang out.
Oh my god.
Big mistake. So he comes, and I like people like that. I like people who would drop whatever they're doing, and come and like meet and hang out with me. Like, obviously, who doesn't want someone like that? He came, and I remember talking to him, and I think we went out to eat or something, and then I was like, so where are you staying? He kind of paused, and then he answered. He was like, oh, I'm staying at some hotel. I was like, okay, good, okay, cool. Making it clear that I wasn't like, you're not offering my dorm room, my roommate's bed, like, in our dorm. Like, I wasn't offering that. I never did, and I never thought of it like, I'm offering you my roommate's bed. Like, I wouldn't do that. He was like, yeah, I'm staying at, like, such and such hotel. Okay, cool. So then we meet up the next morning, and I was like, hey, you want to help me clean my room? Because I really need to clean my room, like, my side of the dorm. So he comes to my dorm room, and he helps me clean. And I am a very hot-tempered person. I get set off pretty quickly sometimes. So we were cleaning, and he was helping me clean something, like, up in, like, one of my shelves, right? But then he dropped something, and then I, like, cuss at him, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you need to be careful. And, like, I lash out at him, and I didn't mean to, but at that point he was kind of annoying me. He was kind of being too clingy and kind of, like, too emotional at that point. And then he started crying. So he starts crying, and I apologize, and I'm like, I didn't mean to upset you. And I'm like, so why are you so upset? Like, I said I was sorry. Like, can we move on? Like, it was not that big a deal. I don't know why you're making it a big deal. And he's like, you know why he's like, you don't know why I'm crying, Maria? Do you want to know why I'm crying? I was like, yeah, why are you crying? He was like, he was like, Maria.
Oh my God.
I can't even say it. He was like, I'm in love with you. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh my God, what the hell? Like, I couldn't speak. You know how people are fight or flight? I froze. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't move. I was just like processing like 1,000 thoughts a minute. Like, it was just like, just my thoughts racing, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. So I was like frozen there, and I was just like almost having a panic attack. And I was like, what? And then he's like, yeah, like, how do you not know? And I was like, what? And then I just start crying, because I'm like, my mom had actually told me, she was like, Maria, you need to stop hanging out with this man. She was like, he's gonna have feelings for you, and eventually he's gonna fall in love with you. And I was like, when I heard that from my mom, I was like, that's crazy. That would never happen. How on earth could that happen? Like, I had told him maybe twice, maybe 2 times, on 2 occasions. I even told him this story. I even told him what my mom told me. My mom said you would fall in love with me, and I told her that would never happen, right? And then he would laugh, and he would be like, yeah, that would never happen. Like, I'm too scared of you. Like, I would never do anything. I would never make any moves. I'm like, good, because I would kick your ass. And I would never let you do that, and that would be the end of this. That was where my mind took me when he admitted it to my face. And I was just like crying. I was bawling. I was like, well, do you know why I'm crying? And he was like, no. I was like, I'm crying because my mom warned me about this. She warned me that you would have feelings for me. She warned me that you would fall in love with me, and I didn't listen. Okay, so I took him to a church event at, you know, my local church, and he had told me that it was a really hot day, and he remembers that he had sexual feelings for me, because he remembers that when we were in church that I was wearing, he remembered the shirt I was wearing, and he described it to me, and it was like this like pink, like really girly, like not a tank top, but like a strappy shirt. And he remembered that I had sweat dripping down. He was like, and then I saw it dripping down, and then I got a hard on, basically. He told me, and I just thought that was disgusting. I didn't want to hear it. I was like, what the hell? Like, why are you telling me this? Like, and I told him, just stop. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear how you feel. I just don't want to hear it. I don't. It just freaked me out even more. And I couldn't believe he told me that. Like, at church. At our church, you're having sexual thoughts about this underage girl. Like, how disgusting is that? I just couldn't see how he would fall in love with me, because I was such a bitch to him. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, towards the end, I was being really mean on purpose, because I wanted him to be the one to end it. But he just kept trying to like say like, no, it'll be alright, like, I can get over this, like, I just needed to tell you, like, we can move on from this, we can still be friends. And I was just like worrying, I didn't know what to do. And then he's telling me it'll be alright, so I'm just like, well, you know what, let's give it a shot. Yeah, I said we can still,
as friends?
As friends. I said maybe we can try. We actually got to his car, and he started driving, and he was like, well, where do you want to go eat? And I was just like, I don't know. I didn't want to talk. I didn't know what to say anymore. And then at some point he was just trying to talk to me, and I was just like, you know what, just take me back. Like, this isn't gonna work. And so he took me back to my dorm room, and nothing happened, thank God. That he actually listened to my words and took me back and didn't push it any further. He did try to just keep texting me and like try to keep talking to me, and he was like, well, we can hang out, we can still be friends, And I was like, at that point when he had left, I was like, no, we can't. At that point we can't anymore. Maybe a month later, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, I just cut him off like completely. Like, I was like, no, we can't do this. I just don't want to hear it anymore. We're done. Like, we're not friends anymore. Just don't contact me, don't call me, delete my number. And I remember one time being at his apartment, and his laptop was open. And then I look at the screensaver, the screenshot, or this, what is it, the screen thingy?
Yeah.
Like when you open it, and it was a picture of me. It was a picture of me, and I was like, at that time, I was like, this is weird. Why do you have a picture of me as your like screensaver? Like, you need to take that off. Like, that's fucking weird. And he was like, yeah, you're right. I'll take it off. I'll take it off. So we cut forward my sophomore year and moved to apartments. And I was really happy to move because I was like, you know what, he won't know where I live. Like, this is way better. Like, I'll feel safe. I'll feel good. Like, he can't even find me if he wanted to. But during one of those semesters, I get a call from my school's judiciary offices. And I'm just like thinking, like, that's kind of weird. So I obviously answer the call, and like they tell me that, you know, it's them. And then I'm like, yeah, it's weird. Why would they call me? And they're like, well, we've been getting calls from some guy named blah blah blah, and he's saying that you were here not on my own merit. It was because of him that I was at this school, that he had actually done all my applications, he had done all my essays, he had done all the work that I did, and that he is the reason I am at this school, and that I should get expelled. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? Like, he's actually calling my school and spewing these lies just to get me expelled from school. So yeah, I was like, that's weird. I was like, I hadn't talked to this man in like over a year. Like, I had no communication with him. Like, I did all my things, and they were like, no, we understand. Like, we don't believe this man. He sounds like he's just ranting and like making up stuff. You know, should I be worried, basically? And they were like, no, we just wanted to call you to let you know that this is what he's doing.
This is what's happening.
This is what's happening, and we believe you. We don't believe him. We believe he's just making up things, making up lies. But we just wanted to let you know what was going on. And then at the same time, my friend, my roommate, she like calls me over to her room, and she's like, Maria, like, who is this man who sent me this long ass email about you? And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? She was like, yeah, look, this random man, blah blah blah, sent me this long ass email about you. Long email. And I remember thinking, like, how did he find her? How did he know she was my friend? Because when we had kind of like stopped talking was my freshman year, and I had still just started making friends. So I'm like, how did he even get her email? But he actually like went out to send her this long ass email, like talking about how I'm like a slut. I'm like this like try to seduce him, and you know what he said in that email? He said that he was going to send it to every single guy at UT, that they need to watch out for me, that I'm going to seduce them, and I'm going to like destroy their whole world, and like, then this is how I'm going to do it. Like, he was literally like, I'm going to write a book about what she did to me. He said that, and I was like, I was freaking out. I really was freaking out. And then to top it all off, my parents called me. They're like, Maria, what is going on? Why is blah 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 calling us, like threatening us, like saying he's going to come up here and do something, and that he's going to like steal all our money because he has all our information. He has our social security card like numbers, and like he has like all our bank information, and he's gonna like take our money, and like he's like threatening us with all these things. And then he was basically saying these things about me to my parents. And they were like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. Like, I had cut him off like a year ago because it got weird, and like I didn't tell them why I cut him off, but I just told him like I cut him off, it got weird, I didn't want to talk to him anymore, I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore, and I think that's why he's doing this. So then that was that. And then I started getting like these messages of like, I unblocked him somehow. I don't remember how it happened, because I remember getting messages from him, or maybe it was email, I can't even remember, but he would be like, yeah, it was email, because he had sent me one. That was where I read the one about like, I'm gonna write a book about this, and I skimmed it. I didn't read it, but I skimmed it because it was just too long. Honestly, one, because I didn't want to read it, and two, because it was too fucking long. Like, he wrote a novel. I remember skimming some parts of like, I know where you live, like I'm gonna go find you, like I know you're in Austin, I know you're in school, I know where you're at. And at that point, like, I just lost it. I remember I was with my sorority sisters and I had told them, like, this was what's going on, and they're like, you should go to, like, report it to the police station, like, to the UT police campus police. And so I was like, I need to. I don't feel safe. I feel like this guy is literally threatening me, and he could be capable of anything. I called my friend. I was like, you need to come with me. I can't do this by myself. Like, I'm just getting emotional about it, but like, I just couldn't do it by myself. Like, I couldn't do it alone. So I called my friend. I was like, you need to come with me. I'm going to the UT police and I'm telling them what's happening, and I'm gonna show them all the emails. I'm gonna show them everything that I've gotten from this man. And that I'm scared, that I'm literally scared he's gonna do something, and I need some sense of protection. So we went to the police station and we told them everything that was happening, and I started bawling. Like, I was crying, telling this officer about this man. They took me seriously and they took my report, and they were like, well, where does he live? And I'm like, well, he doesn't live in Austin, but he says he's in Austin, but he lives in Fort Worth. What they ended up having to do was get in contact with the Fort Worth police to, like, go to his home and tell him that he needs to fucking, like, leave me alone, basically. I remember I got a call, because I saved the detective's number on my phone, and he was like, yeah, he's still calling up to school, still saying things about you, and obviously it's an obsession over you. So at least I knew the police knew that he had this obsession for me, or over me, or whatever. And they were very diligent and proactive about it. That they made me feel like if anything wrong would happen, if anything serious would happen, they would tell me, and they would be there and they would protect me. I remember my dad telling me that he kept calling him, and the detective had told me, you need to tell him to just block his number. So I remember talking to my dad, and he was like, Maria, what happened? He's calling me, telling me he lost his job, that he lost his apartment, he lost his car, he's saying he's gonna come and beat me up. And obviously my dad is a strong man. He was not scared. Like, when he was telling me this, he was like, I'm like, I will beat him up too. Like, I don't give two fucks. Like, I'll protect my family.
What ended up happening to him? Like,
I don't know. Because the police had actually told him to leave me alone, he actually left me alone, because he knew, like, I would take legal measures and to protect myself and my family. So honestly, when the police got involved was when it stopped. So I don't know what happened to him. To be honest, I really don't know. I really don't care. I really hope he's okay.
Alright guys, so that is all for us today's story time, and we will see you if there ever happens a part 2. Hopefully it does not.
No.
We will let you know, and that's it. We'll see you in our next story time. Bye.